start working with your practice client is they're going to be directed to come to outside of room 110. So right out here. We'll put some more chairs out there, and half of you are going to be working with a client for 30 minutes, and your partner's going to be observing, and then you'll say goodbye to that person, you'll do a little processing, and then the second counselor will work with their client for their half-hour session. And so we're practicing all the different pieces. The practice client, you're going to pick them up right outside of 110. All right? So the first session, the first thing that you'll want to do is check the paperwork. You know what I'm going to check for? So this paperwork is the informed consent, right? The informed consent has the disclosure statement on the first couple of pages. I'm going to glance, and I'm going to look at, did the client sign it? That one, did they fill out the next page? And what I'm really looking for on this page is not just a signature, but I want to make sure that they filled in who their professor is, because at the end, we're going to let that professor know how they participated, that they participated, and it's going to be a really brief email. The last page, so signature on page 2, signature and professor's name on page 3, and the last page, page 4, is one of the most critical. This part needs to be signed before you even walk into your counseling room. Why? Here's why. Before I go out to get my client, I'm going to turn my recorder on. I'm going to get them. I'm looking for all of this, and then I'm going to come in. We're going to have a seat. And I want to make sure that that is signed first. If it's not, then I'll say, I'll tell you what, if you have questions about this, about the recording, let's come into the room that we're going to meet in. I'll turn the recorder off. We'll have a discussion about it. But I have to tell you, if they're not willing to record, we need to get another client, because this is for you. The recording is for you. And if a client has a question about the recording, the way that I will explain it is, you know what? You know there's a camera in the room here, but I have to tell you that it's really focused on me, and all the feedback is going to be focused on what I say. So I hear you might have concerns, but I just need you to know that that's the major reason that we're recording. So is it okay if we record? And if the client still says no, leave it off and have the session, and then I will let them know that I need to get another client because that's a requirement for participating in this extra credit. Does that make sense? So you don't have to handle firing the client. I'll handle that. So you got it? The steps are going to be, you go out, look at the client's paperwork, make sure that everything's signed, and come back into the office. You will have already turned on the recorder. Why do I do that? Why do I have the recorder on before I even bring the client into the room?
Just makes it more like smooth.
It's really much more smooth. You're not also drawing attention to, oh, we're recording, and every session, oh, we're recording. So it is much more smooth. It starts to take the focus away from the recording and onto the session. So the first session, I'm going to say, I do have an observer, and my observer is Christy. She's here also to give me feedback. She's here. I know it's kind of crowded in this room, but she's going to give me feedback in the few minutes that we have between sessions. So, questions so far? Nope. So I'm going to just as a way of getting started, this first session, I want to talk a little bit about the paperwork. We'll talk a little bit about what counseling is, and I just want to get an idea of the kinds of things that you might want to be talking about while we're here working together. All right, so, oh, that was yours. I heard the beep, and here's what at some point there's gonna be a malfunction. Somebody's gonna have a malfunction of a camera. Ignore the camera, okay? So your anxiety might go like, oh my gosh, it's not being recorded now! Don't worry about it, you'll have plenty of opportunities for recording. So the focus should still be on the client. So I heard that beep and I was like, oh, that's my camera turning off. The first thing that I want to do is to kind of let you know about how I conceptualize what counseling is. The way that I see counseling is that it's a lot like a conversation. The focus, though, is going to be on you. You might find out a little bit about me, but whatever that is on your mind that you want to start to sort through, I'm here to help with that process. There are sort of differences too with this. There's some confidentiality that I'm required to maintain. What we talk about, for the most part, is confidential. Now, my instructor's going to take a look at recordings and give me some feedback, and so is my classmate. But for the most part, what's confidential. And at the end, the only thing that's going to be recorded is your attendance to your instructor. So in terms of confidentiality, some of the exceptions are that if I think you're going to hurt yourself or somebody else, I am required to report that or to take some additional steps. And my instructor's going to help me with that if that needs to happen. So what's your understanding of counseling?
I don't know. I've never done it before, so it's all new to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of had the impression I was going to lay on the couch and talk at the ceiling.
And that's different. So it's more like that conversation that I was talking about here. Our sessions are going to be about half an hour. The first part of the session we'll kind of check in, and the last part of the session we'll talk about what you want to think about or work on between this session and the next, so that it offers some bridge time and some things to do outside of this good time that we have. So I'm going to just put that aside. Tell me a little bit about some of the things that have been stressful for you.
Well, I just got a new puppy, and yeah, you know, I love dogs, and I got this new puppy, and yeah, I haven't really had as much time as I would like to be able to work with it.
Yeah, really, it's time consuming.
It is a lot, and I live in an apartment, so that's a disaster.
So it's a disaster because
of the puppy. I mean, it's just kind of gets into everything.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Gets into everything and it's hard to contain it. Like puppies will be.
Right.
So this puppy then is taking more time and energy than you might have even imagined.
Right. Yeah.
And I can hear how stressful that could be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've already. I mean, I'm not gonna like get rid of it. I've already fallen in love with the dog, but yeah. So it's just trying to figure it out. Kind of wish I could go ahead and fast forward 2-3 years, calm down a little bit.
Right, when it's not chewing on things or
Right.
getting into things, or and it's you have a routine with it too. So I'm wondering how this is impacting your life overall.
Just with my job, you know, I get home and I'm very tired, and then I gotta clean up whatever mess was left around, and you know, work with the little time that I do have to try tried to train it and everything. So I guess more than anything, just exhaustion. So yeah.
It's a lot more time, it is more time consuming. I'm hearing underneath what you're saying that you really didn't expect it to be this time consuming.
I guess I don't know, maybe my first dog it was a little bit easier, so, or maybe I just had more time because I got my first dog back whenever I was still taking classes and didn't have a full-time job, so, yeah, I guess I just forgot about all of that, so.
Some big differences, and you're having to probably adjust your schedule too, given it's a puppy.
Yeah, waking up a lot earlier than I'd like.
Yeah, I'm seeing that you're looking a little sleepy.
Yeah, like that.
Part of what you're saying is that that this is hard work, and this puppy is already pulled on your heartstrings. How are you putting this together?
I'm just kind of trudging through it right now as best I can.
Just making it happen.
Right.
And so, so in terms of, I'm trying to get a picture of kind of what your day looks like. You're getting up earlier than you expect, you were before.
Right.
You work, you have this puppy. Can you take me through your day?
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually waking up now about 5:30 to 6, and yeah, I'm taking the dogs outside and, letting them play around outside for a little while and going back up and getting ready for the day. Leave for work around 7:30. And yeah, I get home as close to 5 as I can, just so I usually play traffic and everything about 5:30, 5:45, and then I take them outside and work with them as much as I can, and so I mean I've only had the puppy for about 3 weeks now, and
Still getting into a routine then.
sure, and like social life is just non-existent because I feel bad if I'm already leaving it at home for 9-10 hours a day, so.
And that makes me wonder if then what's happening is that you're wondering what's gonna, where your social life is gonna go from here.
I'm trying to, I don't know, I'd invite people over, but the house is such a mess.
It's a wrap.
So.
Right. Well, so one of the things that happens in counseling is that we start to set some goals. And I'm really clear that while the work that we do here can be helpful to talk about what's going on, there might be some skills that would be useful for you. I see counseling as a way for people to also improve their lives. So how do you see this potentially being a way for you to become less stressed or improve your life? What would be most helpful?
Well, I'm hoping just kind of talking about it would help me vent, I guess, a little bit. And then, just probably some time management skills.
Okay. Okay, so we've got just a few minutes more, and for the purposes of the work that I'm doing with you, I have a form that we fill out at the end of each session.
Okay.
And it's pretty simple. It's a between session plan, and I'm just gonna ask you what you want to think about or work on between now and the next time we meet. And I'll write it down here. I've already written in the next appointment day and time. We're gonna keep the same day and time. And I've gone ahead and written this information in. So Given what we've talked about so far, what do you think would be something you'd want to think about or work on between now and the next time we meet?
Well, you mentioned routines, and, you know, I guess that's probably part of it, is it's just kind of everything's so sporadic. I have a normal day, but it's just, you never just know what you're gonna encounter, so just trying to nail down like okay, this is what I do at this time.
Okay, so sometimes, and what we do in counseling is, instead of just sort of jumping into doing something, sometimes it helps to observe what's going on first, notice it, so that then you can start tweaking what's going on. So you can make little changes as opposed to, you know, jumping in and making really big changes to start out with.
Okay.
So given what you've said, does it make sense to you to just observe your daily life and notice where the biggest pieces of stress are?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Now, is that something you would want to work on?
Sure.
So what I wrote is, notice your daily routine, what parts cause the most stress.
Okay.
So we'll meet at the same time. I'll meet you again outside of room 110, because we might end up changing rooms each time we meet. And I really appreciate your being on time today. That's really helpful. So you get to have a copy of this.
Okay.
And I'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you so much.
And then walk them out.
Oh.
Okay? So walk them out of the room, walk them back to 110. I'll see you next week.
Okay.
Okay? Thanks.